how loud I could get. First, I'd like to welcome everyone and let you know I'm sure I'll make some mistakes going through this, being my first time. If you'll just bear with me, I'm sure as we continue to do these, I'll get better. So don't throw pies or anything at me on the first night. Second night, it might be fine. And I'd like to welcome our two new council members, Emily Combs Davis and Miss Nancy Brooks. Glad to have them here. And yeah, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and get started. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Absolutely. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Again, Heavenly Father, we are humbled to be here before you. Lord, we would ask again that you would guide this meeting. Lord, we would ask that you'll give our new mayor the wisdom and the courage and the tools necessary to lead this community forward. Lord, we ask that you'll be with the remainder of his council, Lord. We ask that you will equally bless those with guidance. We ask that you'll watch over this meeting, Lord. We ask that you'll give the people here tonight safe travels back to their families. And once again, we give it all in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
First off, we're going to start with a couple recognitions. One is in memory of Edith Jackson, and Vice Mayor Mullins is going to say a few words about her, and then we'll present a plaque.
As a 30-year teacher of government, I always stressed how important it was to my seniors to vote, to get out and participate and vote. I felt, and I do feel, that voting is a citizen's responsibility. But voting is just the beginning. And being willing to participate in what's going on is what makes democracy work. And month after month, I can remember seeing one smiling face at town council meetings on a regular basis. Edith Jackson attended these meetings faithfully. She voted for Tazewell every month because she was here. She was willing to serve on committees when she was called upon to. She was proud of our town, and she was proud to call it her home. We miss her smile, and we miss her willingness to make her community a better place to live. But because of Edith Jackson, this is a better place to live.
Could Edith's family come forward, please? This is a resolution in honor. Whereas Edith Ann Akers Jackson served on the Town of Tazewell's Planning Commission from 2015 to 2018 and as Vice Chairperson in 2018. And whereas Edith served the Town of Tazewell on the Sesquicentennial Committee helping plan a month-long celebration in 2016 of the Town of Tazewell's 150th anniversary of its incorporation, of which she has missed not a single meeting or event. And whereas Edith also served the Town of Tazewell on the Community Thanksgiving Committee, volunteering to help plan and serve this meal for our citizens. Now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Michael F. Hoops, Mayor of the Town of Tazewell, with the Town Council, Planning Commission, and citizens concurring, do hereby commend Edith for her excellent community service and present this token of appreciation to Edith's family with our condolences. Adopted this 8th of January, 2019.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Todd, if you would like to introduce Mr. Dare.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited tonight to talk a little bit about a young lady that grew up in the community here. I want to kind of introduce her to the town council and make some comments on some of the talents that we have in this community. I think you'll find it very impressive. Miss Adair began studying Taekwondo at a young age of 7. She earned her first degree black belt under Master Roy Richmond III at the age of 10. Casey started competing in local tournaments at the age of 11 and soon moved on to compete in regional and state tournaments at the age of 12. At only 16 years old, her instructor, Master Roy Richmond, passed away, and she inherited the martial arts school that is still taught here in Tazewell and in Bluefield. She is now 24 years young and is a 5th degree Shanghai Master in Taekwondo from Dr. Jim Thomas from New Mexico. She has also been introduced into the USA Martial Hall of Fame, the Alliance, 4 times. She has a 3rd degree black belt. I'm not going to get this one right. It's Shohorti Rai Taijutsu. Was I close?
It's the Tazewell version.
Okay. From Grand Marshal Harfouche in Pensacola, Florida, and owns the only Taijutsu school in Virginia. The only one in Virginia, which is only one of 3 sister schools in the United States. She holds a grand championship in Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. She began competing at the National Black Belt League at the age of 17, doing national tournaments. In 2015, she first competed in the NDL Super Grand World Games International. The World Games take place every year from December 26th to January the 1st. The World Games recognize the top 8 finalists in each division. That year she placed 4th. In 2016, she came home from the World Games with 2 3rd places. Last year, she was part of a final 2 that went up on stage in World Grand and placed with 3 second-place world titles. This year, at the 29th Annual World Games in Buffalo, New York, she was back on stage and brought home the first-place world title in ring and self-defense and 3 second-place world titles in Chinese form. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the one and only, Tazewell's only, Casey Adair. Now, she's got a lot of stuff she brought with her, and she's got her mom with her to guard her, but by the way, has a 2nd degree black belt. So if you have in mind and leaving with any of that stuff she's got, I would think twice about it. But I'd ask Casey if she would maybe show some of this stuff and speak a little bit about her experience.
Thank you all, first of all, for this honor. Coming up basically as just a puny little 7-year-old that was basically the shortest one in her class to, being an influence on my town and on my community, this really means a lot. First things first, I'd like to thank my mom for supporting me and pushing me and fighting with me throughout all this. I'd like to thank Miss Flora, especially for her prayers and everything. So everyone give those 2 a round of applause. Most importantly, anything I do, whether it be tournaments, teaching a class, teaching a new seminar, or anything, I always tell my students the most important thing is to give all glory to God. And so every achievement that I have ever done, and even if I've carried on my instructor's legacy through my school, I always give all glory to God, because if it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be blessed to be able to do this today. So all glory goes to the Lord.
We would like to present you with a certificate of recognition, and I'll read it out to everyone. Certificate of recognition presented to Casey Adair on behalf of the town of Tazewell in recognition of your outstanding achievement of winning the first place world title and ring in self-defense in the 29th Annual World Games in Buffalo, New York, awarded this 8th day of January 2019.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Let me suck it up so they know.
Yeah.
We're good, wait.
And with hers, but hers doesn't want me. It looks like I got to. I don't know.
Let's all turn here to Susan.
Did y'all see it? Did everybody see this ring? All right. Congratulations.
Can we get on the floor before we get out here?
What, shoe, Florida?
Florida is president of the KCA Dare fan club. Flora will tell you that through this was a week's worth of competition, a week. We went up the day after Christmas, we left at Old Dark 30, the day after Christmas. And we came home New Year's Day, and Flora was keeping me calm on Facebook. Thank you all.
Thank you, Casey. We appreciate your commitment to talent. We really do. Thank you. You know, what she doesn't mention, and I know she knows it, but she's inspiring our youth, giving them social skills, showing them teamwork, and giving them the skills they need to continue on in life, and regardless of which route they go. I've got a recommendation that I'd like for council to consider. Casey, I don't think we'll ever in this community have a world champion. It's not a state champion, it's not a national, it's a world champion, but I would think it would be fitting for council to consider putting up a sign in the community somewhere to recognize Casey Adair as being one of our hometown heroes that we're very proud of. So council's consideration will proceed forward if necessary.
Do you also still train in our gym?
Yes.
I'd like to put a plaque in there as well.
Yeah, that would be, if that's what you're going to do.
So can I get a motion to have a sign created for Ms. Casey Adair?
Both in the common and in the gym?
Yeah.
Can I get a second?
Where do you live at?
I live in North Tazewell.
Where?
At North Tazewell. Up at Willie Ranch.
Oh,
Yeah. Up at Boone's.
I think you need a street sign too.
Oh, we can take School Street. It's a short little street that goes right up to where she trains.
Can we?
I just changed my address.
So can I get a motion to at least have a sign put in the old junior high gym?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All.
Can I add to that?
You can.
That's just for the gym. Can we add to that motion, like entrance?
We'll design one and bring it back to council for approval to go forward.
For the street? Yeah, that's what I like to see on the street too.
Okay.
Because it's, you got one down on West Main.
So can we get a vote? Everyone in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
How was that?
Thank you all.
You're very welcome. Very deserving.
Thank you.
So next, Todd, go give us an update on the parking study.
Yeah, this goes back a little bit of a distance, so I kind of want to introduce T&L. We did an ad in the paper not too long ago. We were successful in receiving an award to address the parking garage that will in the future hold the hotel on Main Street. In doing so, Thompson and Litton was selected and has completed that study. The results of the study in the long run will have the potential with DHCD to hover around $700,000 in grant money. Could be less depending on job creation, but typical maximized is right around $700,000. With that being said, we'll cut the PowerPoint on, and Tim, you guys can have that.
Good evening, I'm Dick Houchins. I'm an architect and project manager for Thompson Litton. And with me is Tim Mullins, who's a transportation engineer and heads up our transportation group. As Todd said, we were privileged to be selected to do a parking study of downtown Tazewell. And it was to assess existing parking, assess the ramifications of on parking if a hotel were built, and thirdly, to assess if a parking garage associated with that hotel could be justified. And we have gone through that analysis, and I'll let Tim give you all the details of that, but I want to say, you never start a presentation with an apology, but we did, in the documents that we gave to Todd and distributed to you, we had an error in spelling. It wasn't an important word, it was Tazewell in several locations. So we'll reprint those and make that correction and make sure everybody gets a corrected copy. It got misspelled once, and it got duplicated numerous times on some of the graphics, and I apologize for that. We'll certainly fix that. But Todd picked up on that even after we thought we had caught all the misspellings, but we'll fix that. But with that, I'll turn it over to Tim, and there'll be a few moments at the end, and we'll attempt to answer any questions that you might have too. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Yeah, if you have any questions as we're going through, just stop me. I'll try not to sometimes I get fast when I'm trying to turn group.
There's nothing wrong with getting fast.
Okay. And one thing I will say is I don't have any of the credentials that Casey has. So that's a hard act to follow. As Dick mentioned, we were fortunate to be selected to do the parking study for you all. We worked with the firm WSP that we work with that has a lot of traffic type parking experience, and we worked in consort with them. What we did was the study areas, the outer boundary in yellow goes from Nash Avenue on the west end to Church Avenue on the east end, and that's the on-street parking, and then it includes the parking in behind where our office is at over, I'm using a pointer. Our office is right there. So it includes the parking back in behind there, and the parking back in behind the courthouse, and the parking behind the county admin building. We didn't include any of this parking here. Let's see, that parking right there, it's me, not hitting it right. So we didn't include that parking because that's a private lot. So we didn't look at anything. What we were looking at was potential public parking usage for the project. So when we broke the study area up into 4 different zones, and that'll be important as we're moving forward. The blue is Zone A, yellow is Zone B, red is Zone C, and green is Zone D. And so I'll show you as we go forward. So what we did was we collected the data on Thursday, September 13th. We talked to the courts. We talked to Todd and your all's enforcement officer, who identified Thursdays as one of the worst days between basically 8 and 4. So we used Thursday, September 13th, and we actually came over here and counted parked cars in each one of those zones every 30 minutes. minutes. So we started at 7:30 and ran it till 4 o'clock. So we counted the parked cars to get an existing baseline for the town and the parking in the town. So that just shows you the raw data from that parking study. For example, this is a 1 o'clock to 1:30 period. If you look at Zone A, which is over from our office down to the Commonwealth Attorney's office, and that's just on-street parking. There's 22 spaces, 2 of them are handicapped, 9 of them are being used between 1 and 1:30. What you'll see even in the graphics, and I think that's something that you all see just from being over here, is that this area right here, there's 20 spaces, 3 handicapped, 19 of them are being used between 1 and 1:30. The closer to the courthouse you get, the more of that parking is used. One of the other things that I'll mention here is that if you look at Zone D, behind the county admin building, that's parking area 2. There's 26 spaces, 26 spaces. We see 26 of them are used. So although that's not identified as private county parking, when the county employees get there, they're parked there until 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then it empties back out. So all through the day, that varied very little with the spaces. It was used pretty much most of the time. So that's kind of important as you're going forward when we start looking at the data. So we took that data, compiled it, distributed it over the system, and developed graphs. And so this is what you see when you look down at these graphs down here. The graph on the far left is just available parking spaces. So that's how many spaces are in each zone. The blue, Zone A, just on the street. The yellow, Zone B. So this middle one here is the on-street park. Let's see. That one right there is the on-street parking. And then this one is off-street parking. So you don't see any off-street parking in Zone A because there's not any. And then one of the things you see in Zone D is that in the morning there's the spaces there, but the rest of the day those spaces are gone because the county employees are filling those spaces. So so if you look at that data, that gives you a baseline. And what you kind of can see with that is just kind of taking some things to highlight as we're going through, is in the morning, around 7:30, that's the low end, you've got 20% of the spaces utilized. Midday, 10:20 to 11:30 or 12, 68% of the spaces in town are being used, midday. So, then what we did is we understand you're looking at a 55-room hotel down in the Zone A area, near the vicinity of our office. And we put the numbers for that hotel in. The Institution for Traffic Engineers has codes you use for parking generation for hotels. We use that data, apply it to the existing data to get a projection of future data. Now this one you'll see next is the projected conditions with the new hotel and the parking garage. So we've added the parking garage in here, and we did a 110 space parking garage. We did 55 for the hotel, and then 55 extra. So it's a 110 space parking garage. So what you see with this scenario is you pick up spaces in Zone A. So now you see the off-street, you see the Main Street parking in Zone A, and then you see off-street parking in Zone A now. So we picked that up because of the parking garage. So what you can see is you've got parking available. With this scenario, with the new parking in the hotel, I have to apologize, I gotta get my glasses out, see? You get 20%, it's roughly 20% being used. It goes up to around 60 and goes back down to about 40 in the evening. So it's similar to what you're looking at on a normal day. If you take the next scenario we did was we took the parking garage out, left the hotel in, took the parking garage out. Then what we did was when we took the parking garage out, we applied the parking from the hotel. So Zone A first, down there near the hotel. So we let it just distribute until you run out of parking spaces as you were going up. So what people are going to do is they're going to park close as they can. So once Zone A fills, people are going to go into Zone B, Zone C, and that, some may never go to Zone D. They may drive around and get back in. So, but the data is, this is the parking, no garage, the hotel added. So what you see right off, the pretty, well, if I keep getting the right clicker. So with the existing available Main Street parking, and then when you, so that's on Main Street, one of the first things you see is you lose all of your Zone A Main Street parking with the hotel during this period. So there's no parking on Main Street in Zone A with the hotel. There's also no parking on, so this one right here, this middle one is that's the parking, that's the available spaces. So when you see green, that's Zone D. When you see red, Zone C. You don't see yellow, so there's no parking spaces on Main Street in Zone B, and there's no parking on Main Street in Zone A with the hotel without a parking garage. Now, one of the things that you will note is that the parking from the hotel spills over a little bit into Zone B, the off-street. You see this you see drops off, and during midday, there's no parking actually in Zones B, areas 2 and 3. So you're filling those up for the hotel parking. So what that shows us is that if you build the hotel and you don't add a parking garage, then you're going to end up with the issue all the way up into Zone C with respect to parking on Main Street in the town. So that's why this study supports the addition of
Yeah,
parking.
heavily supports it. Who's gonna go to the hotel and walk all the way up to Zone C? Yeah, that ain't.
Right, no, yeah. Well, nobody's going to want to park up in there and walk back to the hotel. That's true. So,
It's just gonna cause congestion for the courts.
with,
It won't cause any congestion if you build a parking.
right, yeah.
If you don't build a parking garage or provide a new lot to accommodate the hotel, then, yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah, because one of the issues you're going to have is in Zone A, you'll lose all your on-street parking down in front of Painted Peak and that area. You won't have any parking on Main Street. So, and this is just summaries of what we've been through. This is just all on one table. So, are there any questions? Did that?
The conclusion here is if you build a hotel, you've got to provide additional parking of some sort. And one thing that we also did is to assess where and how much space it would take if it was a surface lot. And Tim, can you?
Yeah, one of the things, just to give you an idea of things to think about, if you're looking at a surface lot, like say for example, say we're just going to pave a parking lot down there somewhere near that, a surface lot for 110 spaces takes about 3/4 of an acre. It's about 3/4 of an acre. So, because a good rule of thumb is 250 to 300 square feet per parking space. And I know it sounds like a lot, but when you start thinking about aisle row, you've got 20 feet for where your car's parked, then you've got another 24 feet for the row in between them. And so it's 250 to 300 is a good rule of thumb per square feet. So about 3/4 of an acre would be required for like a surface lot.
And even if you were able to capture all that land down behind where the hotel is proposed, that's quite a hike to get up to the hotel. And if you think about guests, they're not going to be excited about having to make that kind of walk and either ride up an elevator or go up a large set of steps, particularly late at night, when you're checking in. So a surface lot is equally difficult.
Any questions?
Tim, we appreciate y'all. We'll stay in communication with them as we proceed on to the big money revenue stuff.
Let us know if you have any comments on that report, we'll finalize it. So, any questions after, just shoot me if you have any questions.
I will appreciate you guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I'd encourage council, whenever you get a chance to sit down and I know that's a little convoluted, but if you sit down and look at it on your computers, it'll make sense and it'll pay dividends down the road too. It's useful information and necessary.
Okay, next, we have, is it Wilkes, Chris Wilkes? Yeah. Okay, he's going to give us an update on the public library.
Thank y'all for having me tonight. So I'm Chris Wilkes, I'm the Adult Services Librarian at Tazewell County Public Library. And I just want to let you know about a recent management change that happened. Lynn Bartlett, she was the former library director, she just resigned. And Erica Hall has been selected as the new interim director. She's been the technical services librarian at Tazewell County Public Library for the last 5 years. And she apologized she can't be here tonight because she's at the County Board of Supervisors meeting. And our goal is to have better communication with all the towns moving forward. So basically, if you need anything or have any ideas moving forward of how we can improve our relationship or how we can better help the residents of the town of Tazewell, please let us know. Contact me or contact her, and that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's that? We're trying to get the 30 minutes. Now, everyone, we'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor? Got it. Good. One more down. And now the approval of the financial statements and financial report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. So approved. Chris, you're going to give us an update on the Planning Commission Committee?
Yes, sir. We had a meeting last night. We went over some requests from the local restaurant owner. We went over the house demo that we'll look at pictures and vote on later. And the zoning and overlay district will vote on later tonight too. And then
Dr. Mullins, you want to give us an update on Train Depot?
The train depot restoration is to a great extent complete as far as restoring the building to its 1928 status. But the exhibits and artifacts are going to be taking their place in the train station soon. And hopefully by next council, we'll have an announcement about the grand opening and ribbon cutting and a date for that in late spring.
Okay, now for unfinished business, the overlay district notification update and scheduled public hearing. Chris?
yeah, over the past few months, we've been going over some overlay districts, some shopping district overlay to protect the shopping center. I think back in November, we deferred it till this meeting, and it's going to affect 140 properties. We'll figure out the logistics on whether we have to notify all 40 or just do a 2-week notification in the paper. All it is setting up a public hearing tonight. And we have to vote on it.
We'll handle the administrative notification. This will be council's approval to go to public hearing.
Joint public hearing.
Or joint public hearing.
Do you need a motion? Yes. I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Chris, there'll be 5 on public
All right, next, Todd, the approved revised recreational access grant resolution.
Yeah, I can read that if you want to read it.
Go right for it.
Yeah, go ahead, Brad, read it. Read it, thank you.
The local government resolution request for funding recreational access road, whereas the Tazewell Little League Park is owned and is to be developed by the town of Tazewell as a recreational facility serving the residents of Tazewell, Virginia and adjoining localities. And whereas the property on which this facility is located has no access to a public street or roadway and will require the construction of a new roadway which will connect to Main Street, Route US 19460 business. And whereas the procedure governing the allocation of recreational access funds is set forth in section 33.2-1510 of the Code of Virginia requires action by the Director of the Department of Conservation and Recreation and the Commonwealth Transportation Board. And whereas a statement of policy agreed upon between said Director and Board approves the use of such funds for the construction of access roads to publicly owned recreational or historical areas. And whereas it appears to the Town Council that all requirements of the law have been met to permit the Director of the Department of Conservation and Recreation to designate the Tazewell Little League Park as a public recreational facility and further permit the Commonwealth Transportation Board to provide funds for appropriate access to this public recreational area in accordance with section 33.2-1510 of the Code of Virginia. And whereas the council agrees in keeping with the intent of section 33.2-406 of the code to use its good offices to reasonably protect the aesthetic or cultural value of this access leading to or within areas of historical, natural, or recreational significance. And whereas the town of Tazewell acknowledges that no land disturbance activities may occur within the limits of the proposed access project without the consent of the Department of Transportation as a condition of the use of the recreational access fund. Whereas the town of Tazewell hereby guarantees that the necessary environmental analysis, mitigation, and fee simple right-of-way for this improvement and utility relocations or adjustments if necessary will be provided at no cost to the Virginia Department of Transportation. And whereas the town of Tazewell hereby acknowledges that the Virginia Department of Transportation's recreational access program may provide up to a maximum of $250,000 for a project and, if necessary, requires matching funding up to $100,000 from the town of Tazewell for estimated eligible project costs over $250,000 up to $450,000. And whereas the town of Tazewell hereby guarantees the financing of all ineligible project costs exceeding the project allocation under the recreational access program, and any program requiring locality matching funds if applicable, and all costs exceeding this program allocation will be provided by the town of Tazewell. Now therefore, be it resolved that the town of Tazewell Town Council hereby requests the Director of the Department of Conservation and Recreation to designate the Tazewell Little League Park as a public recreation area and to recommend to the Commonwealth Transportation Board that recreational access funds be allocated for an adequate access road to serve said park area. And be it further resolved, the Commonwealth Transportation Board is hereby requested to allocate the necessary recreational access funds to provide a suitable access road as hereinbefore described. Be it further resolved, town manager and/or his designees be authorized to act on behalf of the town council to execute any and all documents necessary to secure the maximum amount of funding eligible under the recreational access program. Be it further resolved, the Tazewell Town Council of Tazewell hereby agrees that the new roadway so constructed will be added to and become a part of the urban street inventory of the town of Tazewell. Need a motion and a second and a roll call adoption of the votes.
Can I get a motion to adopt this order?
You've already approved the resolution. They had to redo it because the codes changed in it. You've already approved it. We've got to approve it again.
What about the whole back of the dragon thing now?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, is,
We'll get there. Well, get your motion, we'll get there and discuss.
Motion to approve. This is good. Second.
okay,
Further discussion.
so we're going to vote?
No,
Discuss.
Okay.
Okay, I can comment on that. What I meant by later date, I literally meant later date. But I wouldn't convolute the two yet, that's not a close deal. After
We don't want to spend any money on that.
Right.
we won't.
Okay.
We had plenty of time, but in case the other deal falls through, we can proceed forward.
Okay.
Now can we vote?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All ayes. So, Todd, is there any miscellaneous?
No, I don't have any this time.
All right, so now for the new business, we have some reappointments that we need to focus on. The first will be by a vote, the reappointment of town manager, Mr. Todd Day.
So moved. Second.
We'll start.
Aye.
All We're a little nervous for you, Todd. All right, so now our reappointment of Clerk Leanne Reagan.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
We don't have to roll call for the right.
Man, you're nice.
You got extra.
Okay.
I think they're going to be all ayes. I'm just trying to save their time.
Okay, reappointment of Fire Chief Josh Roberts.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Reappointment of Town Attorney Brad Pyatt.
So well, wait a minute. Maybe we should do that. We each have a piece of paper. Secret ballot.
Is it secret ballot?
Voted off the aisle. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we need to fill one vacancy, discuss and approve an IDA reappointment. Todd?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to guide council through this as smoothly as possible. A couple of things I want to point out is these appointments from previous councils have terms. The IDA has more strength in their consistency of terms than planning commission does or any of the other appointments. With that being said, it's always going to be the recommendation from management that you proceed on with the board that you have and address the reappointments or the tentative dates of new appointees that you have to address. With that being said, at this time, you have a reappointment of Shirley Forrester. She was filling a term of Junior Booth, if you'll recall. So her appointment was up. It obviously does not have to be reappointed, but she's been filling that slot. So it's totally up to council. And you also, due to Ms. Brooks's appointment on the town council, you also have another vacancy there. So in actuality, you have one appointment that needs to be addressed and a reappointment that you choose.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Shirley Forrester to the IDA. Second.
All in favor?
He's aye.
All ayes.
And you have one vacancy if you've got a recommendation for that slot.
I recommend Omar Reed's wife from North Tazewell area. I mean, she's a juicer out there.
Julicia.
Omar Reed. I don't know his wife, but she was fine. I think it's
Julicia. Mrs. Reed. there.
Mrs. Reed.
Any other?
Got a motion?
Is she interested? Do we know if she's interested?
When I've talked to her, she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So,
Have to have a motion?
so get a motion to,
Yeah, you got a motion.
Got a motion.
Need a second.
Second.
You made your motion.
Well, I was trying to jump the gun here.
keep it moving, it's moving.
We got council of one.
So, all in favor? Did you get a second?
Second. I said you second.
Okay, do we have a second?
Come on, ladies. Huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we have a second. All in favor?
Aye. We got time. Not kidding.
We will contact her using typical communication, which is a letter of acknowledgement, and give a response back. So your second issue on the table is you have a vacancy you actually have one vacancy and two vacancies, I'm sorry, and one reappointment on planning commission. Jack Murray, and obviously,
One has to be a council member.
one has to be a councilman, and also the vacancy of the Jackson, and Jerry Cromer needs to be reappointed to serve that.
So it's two, really? Two? Three.
You got three, but one of them is still on there if you want to reappoint. And that's Jerry.
Can I make a motion?
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion for Pete Davis to be on the planning committee.
Need a second, Mayor.
Can I get a second?
Get a second.
Second.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Jerry Cromer.
Second that. Ms. Davis, second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you get that second, Lee?
Yes.
All right, we need to have
Council member.
council member appointment on that.
Ms. Davis,
Is anybody interested?
Anybody on council
Interested?
Any interest on the council?
you want to get on, Ms.
I don't
Davis?
even know what they do exactly.
Zoning.
Zoning.
Zoning, planning, putting up a comprehensive plan on how the town moves forward in the future, just recommendation. It's actually a recommendation body for the town council.
Well, I'm only here temporarily, but I'll be glad to do it temporarily. You'd have to replace me.
Not if you win.
Not necessarily.
Need a motion and a second.
Can I get a motion for?
I move Nancy Green.
I'll second. There you go. Okay.
All in favor?
Now you're in.
Temporarily.
Which one are we on? Because I think we're on.
You're on the planning commission, we're on
So now we're on GG. Okay. Yeah, I had it right.
Okay, you also have a board of zoning appeals. Those positions are recommended by the governing body and approved by the judge. In this situation, you just need reappointments of all the positions there.
Everybody who's serving is willing to continue to serve.
Yes.
Can we move to reappoint the group?
Reappoint the whole group by name. Need to do it by name, but you can do it one motion, name all of them, and get a second.
I'll make a motion, we reappoint Daniel Ingram, Bill Weeks, Anthony Brewster, Benny Moore, Joe Bowen, and Brad Pyatt to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I'm not on board.
Are you there?
I got listed, but I can't be.
Oh, you're not, okay.
I'm down there, council.
Okay.
BCA, that's it, I'm not a BCA member.
Need a second.
Second. Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, top of the YMCA board?
Just need one.
Mr. Mayor, if I might say, I would be glad to, and would be eager to serve on the Y board if nobody else had something I'm interested in.
Need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go.
Congratulations, Glenn.
Thank you very much, council, for my job anyway. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. We can continue on, Mayor, as usual.
Yeah, so the approval, the demolition process of structure, 156 Harmon Street.
Well, all of you look at the pictures on pages 120 through 126 in your tablets. I'll go over some outlines for the new members, what we do when we remove a structure. The Virginia code sets the ordinances and the town adopts them. So anything that the Virginia code has, we have to go by. We can't make up our own rules. Any unfit structures for human occupancy or structures that's unsafe, we go through a process of removing them. Virginia code requires 30 days. We allow 60s for the owner's response. Planning commission approves. They see the same thing you're seeing there, and then they approve it and send it to all y'all's vote. Y'all approve it. Then I go through a process of getting the fire chief, police chief, building inspector, myself, and the town manager to sign off on it. Then we hire a private contractor if the homeowner does not do anything with it. Then we, once it's removed and sown grass, we put a lien on the property. So if it's sold, we try to keep our money. We do have a couple of people now that's paying on the past houses that are removed. So those pictures, they probably say a lot. Police chief can attest to what was out there. I gave you a handout. I didn't have it last night, I forgot, but the handout shows where the house is located in reference to Newcastle.
So what happens to the property? Say you put a lien on it because they're not paying the $3,500. And does it just sit there, does it become the town's responsibility to start mowing that property now? So, or do we?
Yeah, but usually that's a quick turnaround, was only 2 years max.
What's going to happen in this situation, if we get rid of the home is recognized as being unsafe, unhealthy, and unfit. So we will remove the home. The land will be vacant. We'll obviously lean on a different issue to address the grass cutting. Odds are it won't get cut, so we'll spend your constituents' tax dollars to go in there and cut the grass, and we'll do it for a given length of time, and then it can go up on a sheet sale. It can go to tax collection. We put it up on a sheet sale, and it'll be sold.
So you could auction it off.
We auction it off, but most of the time, we do not rebound from those fees.
Right.
Nor do we rebound from the demolition fees. But it does give back to the community. We give back to the community in more ways than one.
Well, that's what.
So is this house occupied? Somebody living in it now?
This is the first, I've tore down probably 6 houses, and this is the first one I've run across that somebody was living in.
So do they just say you got to go?
Well, that's what me and the chief will address when it comes to that. If,
He's already vacated the house.
Has he? Was it one person living in it? Wow.
hadn't had water since 2014. So you can't see it there in the picture.
Water, it was just in jugs.
I know you see the picture of the blown out wall. and,
Yeah.
But the floors are squishy, and when we was walking around there, we had to have ambulance there in case one of us fell through the floor. So it's, the structure is very.
You got one of hazmat suits walking over.
What happens with the contents? Most of the contents, I'm sure.
You can't burn it because that'd be a toxic flume there, but
right.
it's all hauled to the landfill and disposed of.
The homeowner can obviously take out whatever they want.
Right.
But the rest of it just gets mashed up in the.
Basically, it's an episode of Hoarders.
And that house is, yeah. I've been in houses that's just structurally unsafe, but this house is both.
This house meets a lot of criteria as a public bunch. So we just need we just need a motion from council to approve to move forward with removing the structure.
Have motion.
Get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes.
At the November meeting of the IDA basically had some concerns about its existing bylaws concerning attendance at meetings, because they had one member in particular who just was not able to make meetings for various and sundry reasons, and there wasn't anything to specifically address the lack of attendance in the bylaws and what to do with a member who's not participating, and affecting their ability to have a quorum and actually conduct business. So they asked me to basically prepare with a couple of conditions, two amendments specifically for their bylaws. I think you have a copy of those in your packet. Changes are minimal on page 3. There's 2 separate items that will change or requested to be changed. in Article 7 and Article 8. Article 7 dealing with the removal. There's the addition of the language that they're requesting in the second sentence. Any director may be removed from office by the town council without limitation in the event that the director is absent from 3 consecutive meetings of the board or is absent from any 6 meetings of the board within a 12-month period. And then it adds, and 2 lines down from that, in the case of any removal, a new director may be appointed for the remaining term of the town council. And they also requested that their meeting dates be changed in this amendment. If you see under Article 8, paragraph C, regular meetings, they're wanting to move their meetings from Tuesday at 6:30 to the first Monday at 6. So they're requesting that the council, that they have recommended that these bylaws be changed to this effect. Since they are appointed and created by council, they're requesting council's approval for these amendments. And that you basically so move that they be approved and take effect upon passage. Our recommendation tonight, and then they can adopt them formally at their next meeting next month.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
I got some discussion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the same night as the planning commission.
It is, it's an hour earlier.
Okay, is that amazing?
That's what they were requesting.
All ayes.
Just the message.
Just need to clarify.
We did. All ayes. Okay, Leanne?
Okay, in your packet, I have a couple budget amendments. This is something that our auditors have recommended that we do formally. So the first budget amendment that I have, as the manager said last meeting, we were not going to be able to do the walking path in this budget year, but he had budgeted $60,000 in that line item. So what we would like to do is take $35,000 out of that line item and put it into capital outlays so that the police department can have a new police cruiser. Do we need to vote on these individually?
Wait, it's not that we're not doing the walking track, that there's some grant.
Not this year.
We're looking at grants, it's not in this fiscal.
Not this year.
Jim, if you recall, we're applying for 3 different
grants.
Yeah, but they won't be through this year, not this fiscal year.
So that funding.
So hold on,
that he
hold
had-
on, so when are we gonna be starting the walking path then?
It won't start this fiscal year.
Which means July?
It'll be
This summer? Or
It'll be after July if we get the funding. We're applying to a minimum of 3 different grant agencies. So we have to wait on their responses, but regardless, we're not going to start until after July.
So have we talked to Fred Barnes about that? Because he contacted me 2 days ago and was still wondering, hadn't heard from anybody as of Monday.
It's all hovering around the grants.
Has anybody contacted Fred Barnes to tell him that?
Probably not in the last month or so.
Because that's not the timeline that he's been told.
Well, the timeline that he was originally told was probably last summer. So, yeah, we'll communicate with it. We'll communicate with it.
I thought we were taking the money out of because we didn't have the money, but now we have the money.
No.
And we're gonna put
This was the line item that we're using to make the debt service payment on rain.
No, wait, because when we went over this, if it was either last month or the month before, it was said that we didn't need the 60,000 because we had grant money, but now you're telling me that only if we get the grant money.
No, we don't have any grants for the walking trail.
We don't have any?
We've never had any grant for the walking
Well,
trail.
you told me about-
Other than the 25 that was left from the death of David.
You told me you were going for grant money, so we weren't going to need the 60,000.
We are, but we don't have it yet.
Right, but now we're going to use the money that we had set aside for it. So if we don't get the grant, we use this money for something else, now the walking trail is down the drain.
For the police. Just in this fiscal year.
It's not where it's going, it's what it was intended for in the first place.
It was intended for the walking trail in this fiscal year, but unfortunately.
So you're saying, now you're going to put it somewhere else, hoping that we get the grant. If we don't get the grant, my question is what happens to the...
We'll just put it back in next fiscal year. I apologize if we had $60,000 budgeted for the walking trail.
Yes.
Okay, we're not going to do the walking trail because of all the other stuff that I'll go over here in a little bit. Because of all the other expenses. And we agreed that we were going to apply for 3 different grants to address the walking trail, which would alleviate, hopefully, the $60,000 in this fiscal year.
So you're saying that if the grants don't come through, then we'll put it back in?
We'll put it back.
We'll put it back in the budget
Yeah, we'll
for
put
July.
maybe 150,000 in July. I'm just saying, this fiscal year, because we're waiting on the responses from those 3 grants, we're just. What is your question? You still have, look like you have a question.
Well, I just asked you, will the walking trail be done this summer? You said, well, if we get the grants, was your answer when I said that after
Well,
July.
if we get the grants after July, we will start the trail.
And if we don't?
Then we will re-budget this money for next fiscal year and potentially start. It's totally up to council, how you want to proceed with that.
Well, the council decided last year to proceed with it.
If you want to, we can start now and use that money for the walking
I'm
trail.
not saying that, I just want to make sure it gets done. We told the community.
I'm trying. You know, the money, Chris, is there. You're well aware of the finances, and I'm trying.
Well, what I'm hearing is that maybe it'll happen this next fiscal year and maybe it won't.
Yeah, the new council may pull it completely off the table. I don't have an answer to that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
I think then Mr. Barnes needs to be made aware of that.
I will communicate with him, and I apologize for that. I'll make it a point to do that tomorrow.
Do you want to do all these separately?
Yeah, do them separately. They have to be addressed separately.
Okay. So, the moving of the walking path expenses, can I get a motion on moving forward with that?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Say 3 parts.
What's that?
Is this the 3 parts of this?
Yes, we agree.
Okay, the second budget amendment does deal with the Ramey properties that we had just purchased. As that was not actually in the budget, we need to make a line item for that. So again, that money for the loan payment would be coming out of the walking path expense. And the other 2 line items will be coming from a IDA revenue where we will put the money in to make the payment and where it will come out of when we do the payment. And that is a change of $14,000 estimated for payments of 6 months on the property.
Which is needless to say, the remainder of the fiscal year.
Yes.
You've already voted and approved it, so I just need to know the form. Just need a motion.
That's what the 30.
I'll make a motion to approve.
You get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor. So do you have one more?
I have one more. This is also a audit recommendation from our auditors. The town does have an IEDA, and they would like for that to have its own fund. So the town would be audited on their books, and the IDA would be audited on their books. So I would like a motion to approve a new budget fund for the IEDA.
So just like a funding line? Or
Yes, it'll be their expenses, their revenues. the
It'll be an
lines.
enterprise fund, just like your water and your sewer. We have a general fund, we have a water fund, and a sewer fund, and have an IDA.
Just out of curiosity, how much will they charge to audit that?
It'll be a little bit of additional charge. They actually audited it within our books, but just needs around a little bit for it. So their recommendation is just to make a business account out of it. And we have to, the IEDA is actually making the account to the bank for the debt service on their
So this is just so we can transfer money?
We'll just transfer money over to it, and the bond council will be happy seeing that the IEDA made the payment, not them cancel. Just need a motion to approve in a second.
I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes.
Thank you.
Todd?
Yeah, over the last 6 months, we have had a lot of confusion with respect to the town sticker. I would leave it at that. We've communicated with several badges at the state level, and they've been getting some conflicting answers. I'm going to recommend that the town council completely do away with the town sticker. This is following the pretense of Bluefield, Richlands. The vehicle fee will still be there on the taxes. I'm just recommending to completely do away with the town sticker altogether.
I'll make that motion.
I get a second.
Second,
All in favor?
can we get discussion?
Okay.
So in Richlands right now, there's a big misunderstanding maybe, or confusion about now the county saying they have to come to the county and get a sticker?
The county citizens do.
No, people that live in the town limits of Richlands are being told they have to get a county sticker.
I'll check on
On
it.
what basis?
I'll check on it, but I don't
It was from reputable people that were telling me it was more than one person. So I'm like, how in the world, I mean, if you still have to get a sticker, what does it matter where it comes from?
If you live in town, you do not have to buy a county sticker.
But, so,
They need to be on. Not have a sticker in years.
I know, but now they're telling them they have to get a county sticker.
I don't believe it.
And who is that?
I had 3 different people that are trustworthy.
Board of Supervisors members?
We will look into it.
I'm just curious, I mean, it sounds ludicrous to me too, but when the second person told me and the third person told me, I was like, this just sounds crazy.
It was Eric Young was very clear in his explanation, and the Code of Virginia is very clear in double taxation, but we will absolutely look into it, and if there's any changes necessary, we'll bring them back. But right now, the recommendation is obviously just to do away, and by the way, the sticker does have to be removed.
We have to take it.
You have to remove the sticker. No, you don't have to replace it. Do away with it, take a way to cut it off, but it does have to be removed.
I have no problem with removing it, but if we have to replace it with a county sticker, I don't see the point.
Right.
I agree.
I'm sure that's not the case, but it was just confusing to me because 3 different people told me that in Richlands.
We'll check it.
And then how do you identify somebody that lives in the town or county that uses your?
Your registration.
Registry. We spoke to the landfill, and the landfill is the only area of conflict that I can see. So we did speak to them, and it's pretty typical practice. They're just checking registration or license. People use landfill.
Should we just table this until Todd's
I'm not
out?
good with it. I mean, just.
I recommend you go ahead and proceed. I like to have all states that have to be removed.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to remove the stickers, town stickers.
We already have, we have a motion and a second. We just got to vote.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
That didn't take long. Okay, Todd, in the schedule the budget work session?
Okay, at that time of year again, we need to spend some time with each other and look how we're going to proceed with the upcoming fiscal year starting July 1st. So I'm going to give you some recommendations. I know that a lot of y'all are still, most of us are still employed, working, meeting during the day is not possible. We've got a history of meeting early in the morning, and it's just convenient. Late in the evening, I just need some recommendations from Ken, or Saturday morning, early, Saturday evening, Sunday. I just need some recommendations from council. I'll give you a few if you'd like.
What, you got some dates in mind?
Sure.
There's nothing on your schedule?
Yeah.
two, what day is it for the votes?
Yeah.
I mean, to start with, it's
Does
Tuesday.
y'all want to do a Saturday morning, or you want to do something?
I would prefer.
You prefer that?
I do Saturday now.
Saturday for a while, 12th, 19th, 26th,
Saturday's good.
what are those 3 days?
How about January 19th? Is that what it is? What's January 19th? That gives everybody time to think.
It's on Saturday, right?
January 19th,
What time?
7 o'clock. Chris Brown, about this for everybody.
I like that.
Here,
And we're out here by 9.
That's impossible to finish it. We can meet again. Yeah, we'll meet again.
We're still doing
Is it here in this room?
Yeah, it'll be right here. So far, we've got 7 a.m. on the 19th, January 19th. Is that okay with everybody? Just need a head nod and I'll send out an email.
I'm good on it.
Tentatively, yes. We call it, we do an email.
Sure. We'll do.
I like that term, sound like before we leave the option.
Yeah, we can do a doodle poll. We'll start doing polls, maybe.
That's a good one. You got one more.
Stay at 10. Financial update.
I never wait, but I still like it. It's fun. It's entertaining.
You guys go send an email out?
Yeah, we'll do a doodle bug email and let everybody select a time where it's convenient and we'll move forward with that. I would encourage Hayes, we got a lot to cover.
Well, so the last regular scheduled item, the state of town financial update.
Yeah. It's a habit that I've had over the last 20 plus years in local government to try to give an incoming council or if I'm in a new position or outgoing mayor or new mayor, and everything you want to look at, a little bit of a financial update on where you're at when you came in. And as town manager, I try to sharpen that as best I can for the benefit of the council and also the outgoing council. So I'd like to take just a little bit of time and I'm gonna lay these right. No, I'm not either. I'm gonna put them here on this end and lay them here. Just get this straight that in. Typically, an accounts payable printout from the town of Tazewell may consist of 15 to 20 pages of information. And what you've got in front of you, and I purposely tried to target a date as close to your appointment or as close to this meeting as I can. And for the record, this is not a list. This is actually your accounts payable there. So just for the record, the rest of the council, this is actually a print off of your accounts payable as of January the 4th, 2019, 2:30. And ultimately, it's a zero accounts payable. So for a moment in time, we had an accounts payable of zero.
He's got the mail.
Now, you'll see a figure there of $7,293.25 that's owed. And that is VRS that the employees pay into. It's paid monthly, so we take it out by monthly each check. So that'll be doubled at the end of the month and obviously pay VRS. But for the record, we have a zero accounts payable for a moment in time. Now, Nancy, I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it, but probably 2 hours after that, we entered a bunch more bills that we got that day, or the next day, and today. So for a moment in time, it was zero. We also, as of actually today, due to the fiasco we had with the LOC and the bond, you have a zero balance on both of your lines of credit. So the town holds 2 lines of credit, which is typical for smaller localities, specifically in Southwest Virginia because of dry time. So during November, December, when revenues are coming in, it's when we play catch up with diesels. During other times of the year when there's no revenue coming in, but we still have diesel fuel bills, we still have salaries, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes we lean on the line of credit. By legislation, we have to, within the fiscal year, pay those off. And I will say that we've always been successful in doing that. So here's a copy. You can keep it and compare it to 4-year term or maybe a 2-year term of just one of them. One of them is $300,000 and the other one is a $400,000 line. This is one national. This is a little bit convoluted. If you've got any questions about it, feel free to call me or Leanne, the treasurer. This was just closed out today. Once again, the bond that was planned several months ago.
They're not giving us any break on interest rate, are they?
No. Yeah, did you see that for the, look at the interest rate on the LOC just for the bond. I mean, the line of credit, the interest rate on that.
Well, I don't know what I'm looking at.
So again, Mayor, just to amplify that, we came in with pretty much a zero accounts payable. We also came in with both lines of credit totally empty. So I say totally empty. Now you take it two different ways, but what I mean is that 100% of the lines of credit are there and available for use. One other thing I want to give to the council, just as an update, and these are some of your debts that we've got. And this will go in again to the budget work sessions. These are all on this page. Every one of these are already budgeted. They have been budgeted for a number of years. We have a garbage truck. The original value was $148. We do finance those for 5 years. And we buy a garbage truck every 15 years. And we have 2. So it keeps a vehicle. We buy them every 5 years. And we always keep 2, maybe 3. So the oldest one is never any more than 5 years old. It's active. We have the VRA, the Dry Town project that the previous council actually inherited and finished up. We also have another garbage truck that will be finalizing this upcoming fiscal year. You have a water project that goes back many years ago. You have a water meter upgrade project, and you have a Pocahontas project, and I'll elaborate a little bit on the Pocahontas project. Most of you may be familiar with the water tank that's over in North Tazewell. Well, the water tank for a number of years, my understanding, was leaking really bad. The health department got involved. And prior to my employment, I'm not sure all what took place, but they had to shut that tank down. Pocahontas at the same time needed some assistance hydraulically. So instead of spending $1 million or $1.5 million in design and building another 1 million gallon tank, we got with Pocahontas and also the PSA and agreed to split funds, which is the one that you've been reading about in the paper for last year that will be located out in the county and the feed fire service back in the town. So the estimated cost with that project right there is hovering around $500,000 plus the amount of money that you have there from the Pocahontas project. So we save probably about 35–40% by going right to regionalization, I guess you can call that. The bottom down there shows the lines of credit that we have, and once again, they are open. If you got any questions along the way, I'm gonna buzz right through them. I know everybody in the audience wants to get to the house. These are a couple of projects for the upcoming fiscal year that this council will be addressing and making decisions how to move forward. DHCD parking grant. We just heard a presentation on that, has a maximum expense to the town of $2 million. And we're obviously applying for grants. The start of that you heard tonight. As I said during the meeting, there's a potential $700,000 in that program. The parking garage, needless to say, is an asset whether we get funded for it or not. We're going to do everything we can to get funding for it, but it's obviously an asset for the success of not only Main Street, but the entire town of Tazewell, plus the hotel. Recreational access grant, this was the grant that Councilman Brown mentioned earlier. We're working with VDOT on a recreational access grant to improve the entrance to the Little League field down below Main Street. We've also had some communication recently with Back of the Dragon and some of their partners to maybe switch some properties up. So depending on how that goes and depending on what the shots bring forward, we'll figure it out as time goes on. But that is a recreational access grant. Our portion of that is $150,000, potentially $500,000 going into that project. The walking trail at Lincolnshire, this is the Barnes property, the one Councilman Brown mentioned earlier. It's got an out-of-house estimated cost of $226,000. A lot of people say, well, what's the difference in out-of-house and in-house? Well, if we do it in-house, I've got the equipment. If I do it in-house, the manpower is budgeted already. It just depends on where I choose to put the employees at. So there's a lot of cost savings that can be done in-house to make the numbers more attractive, but it also ties up public works crews for a year. So if I can bid that out and apply for grants and get funding for it, obviously it's kind of a smart route to go to try to bid that out. So that's got an out-of-house cost of $226,000. The in-house cost, again, is hovering around $60,000 if we do it in-house. Keep in mind, it's not employees. That's already in your budget anyhow. That's an additional expense. We've also got a quote that actually just came in today for the zip lines. We talked about the zip lines in Lincolnshire and also a rope course. Those, both of those, the zip lines was $775,000 if we move forward. There's never been a vote there. We don't have to move forward with that. And the adventure park, which is the ropes course, has a cost of $604,000. The Rainey's lot is already in your budget at $300,000. It's a $259 a month payment for 15 years. Hopefully we won't be holding that for nowhere near that long, but we extended that payment out for obvious reasons. The fairgrounds property is another issue that's on the table that we'll be talking about in the next couple of months. The county and the town have been looking at the possibility of swapping some land there. So that's a project. And we also have a sports complex we've been talking about and chatting about for the last 6 months that will also be talked about. Now to amplify that, last year the town of Tazewell did $0 in paving. We didn't spend one dime in paving streets. And we had a balanced budget. So if you look at the projects that we've got on the table, you say, well, how are we going to do that? How are you going to create reality of any of these projects when you didn't even have any funds budgeted last fiscal year? Now, we applied for several different grants as VDOT, and we'll talk about those in budget work sessions, but those questions, I still have questions about. And it all depends on how this council wants to proceed and how your vision of tomorrow and what that picture looks like. So it comes at a cost. If you'll flip the page over, these are some of the projects, and I'll just run through these really quick, that we have already on the table contractual understandings with to some degree. The Tazewell Train Depot renovations cost the town out of pocket, which was a local match of $80,000. We are still closing that out and have to show those expenses monthly. That's a federal grant. The Rural Business Development Grant was a $75,000 grant. The town matched it for $5,000. It's a revolving fund. So if you've got a business here in town and you're wanting to expand, we'd encourage you to look on the internet, call the offices here, and we actually have an opportunity for you to maybe gain $5,000 to $10,000 on a low, simple interest loan. We're really excited about that program. State of Good Repair Paving Primary Extension. Council approved Tazewell Avenue, Riverside Drive, Asia Road, Fairground Roads. We are still after those funds, revenue sharing funds that were allocated. This has a revenue sharing, it's 50/50. Primary extension is a 100% funded application. These routes are Route 460, not Route 460, but Route 61 under State of Good Repair. All of those right there have been funded. So you have $1.5 million grant that was successful for Route 61, that was North Fork Prince River. You have a $1.3 million grant, which was also Riverside, Cabot Creek. You had a $357,000 grant that was approved for Riverside. You have a $1.1 million grant for Route 19 460. You also have Piskey Road over Fairgrounds with a $700,000 grant that was approved, and Fairgrounds Road over Clinch River was $2.3 million. In the last 5 years, and I see no reason we can't continue it, we will continue to bang away at grants that influence the better quality of life, specifically infrastructure. And the reason I say infrastructure is because without water, sewer, and highways, we kind of can't go anywhere. And I've got a lot of responses back from the public, grant writer. I've got that from a number of different people. You've got 2 grant writers, one here and Robin Brewster over there. In the last 5 years, we've done $22 million worth of grants for the town. In some fashion, we will continue to target that same character of grants. So grants, when it comes to things like DHCD or community developed block grants, I'd like to work with this council to create committees that are interested in seeing the community grow. Committees that have active people that want to participate in filling out applications to better cosmetics, advertisement, et cetera, for the town. I feel like 100% of council would want me to concentrate on infrastructure or sewer, things of that nature. So it takes up a lot of time to do that. A grant writer, they write 3 grants and they're covered up. They're covered up. They can't go anymore. They've got to operate them. They've got to maintain them. They've got to babysit them. They've got to follow through with them. Train station, Dr. Mullins, how long now? 4 years?
5 years.
Almost 5 years on one federal grant. So a grant writer. You hear a lot of people say, let's get a grant writer. Well, get the application. Anybody can become a grant writer. Fill it out. Simple as that. Fill it out. But then do it. So I've got caught up in 2 situations in the last 3 years where we had a grant writer and they wrote grants. Well, both of the grant writers had better offers and moved on, and now we're doing those grants. So the perception of hiring a grant writer is kind of a little exaggerated. The HTIP grants, these are sidewalks that the town council approved 2 years ago. This is phase 1, Route 61, phase 2, Route 61, phase 3 and 4, Route 61. This is a stretch between Lincolnshire and the 460 corridor that will connect to the Barnes Trail that we discussed earlier. That's in 4 phases. We applied for it a year ago altogether. As VDOT said, reduce the value of each application, so we did. The AEP grant, we're still working on that one. The movie theater, we have contractual agreements with that. The bowling alley, contractual agreements with that. Update water line mapping, that was a new grant that we just applied for. We're waiting to hear back from that. The Tazewell Depot Scenic Trail, we're still working on that one after 2 years. By the way, I think there's Tazewell, Giles, and Bland. There's 3 county administrators in that. And there's 2 town managers, including myself. They're trying to close that deal and still haven't closed yet. So the perception of, again, grant writing, I could go on all night about grant writing, but anyway. And of course, Sunset Digital. I had some communication today. Brad, I think the mayor was also included in those communications, the Sunset continues on. Any questions for Ken?
So there's no response back?
No, not yet. No response back as of yet.
What about the sidewalk on Tazewell and Castle?
Tazewell Avenue is in the HSIP. That is in the HSIP grant program. They have not been funded yet, but they are applied. Yeah, Tazewell Avenue is in Castle and 61. Those 4 that you have listed on there was where council said that you want to concentrate out of the 3 routes. They were the 4 most important grants out of the 3 routes. Are there any questions from anybody?
Been busy.
I've got to have some questions. David, you got a question?
I got a Bulldog Lane all the way down the cemetery lane. Sidewalk deal down there?
I've got a lot of people want to see a sidewalk there. We'll be discussing it in the budget work session. We'll have a chance to have one for the
Well, I have a question. Do you have any idea when any action is going to occur at these?
That is totally up to this council.
Well, you know, I just have that caveat. We've got the mural project.
What was the question?
We don't have a question.
She asked, do I have any idea when any action will happen at Rainey?
Oh.
And my response was, that's totally up to this governing body and how we proceed.
Well, it won't be before March.
If it's up to Mr. Braylon, he said yes.
Well, we had that I know you know that.
Yeah, I understand that, but what if somebody came and offered you $700,000?
Well, we got to have a place to do that mural.
There's no reason
We'll find this spot.
I mean, it's ours, we're not using it, so if you want to store something there, yeah, sure.
Well, it's more than storage. She's going to need it from March 25th to May 5th to actually paint and have community people come in and participate. You know, bring your little children in and paint and all that.
So would it have to sit for a while?
There'll be, she'll have table surfaces on it.
If we sell that for a huge profit, then we'll find you another spot.
Well, we can't do it till next May.
Speaking from someone who worked in commercial real estate before, things don't happen that fast.
Well, I feel fairly confident. But I just think everybody needs to be aware of that.
That's all I've got. Any questions? Any other questions? The answer had to be the one, but to answer your question, as long as we have you, I have a problem with utilizing it. Yeah.
There's always that caveat, I guess.
Yes.
All right, so, let anybody sign up for a public comment? No? Excellent. No executive session, so, could I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.